What is up, comic fam, and welcome to the Legion of Comics. It's Sunday night, so that means this is At Weeks in, the spoiler-filled look back at this week in comics and so much more. But before we get into any of that, check this out. A big shout out to the channel sponsor, Big Time Collectibles. They're the sponsor of the monthly Legion Loot giveaway box, which good news, I'll be getting those books in tomorrow or Tuesday. So I'll be able to show off the books that will be included in this month's giveaway for all the channel members. So be sure to check them out if you're looking for any amazing retailer exclusives, ratio variants, placing your FOC orders. They have their holiday mystery box on sale right now. If they have any left, that's one of the best deals I've seen ever for a mystery box. Be sure to check them out. You can follow them on Instagram and Facebook as well. Also, if you're looking to get any comics cleaned or pressed, be sure to check out Justin's Comics on Instagram. He can help you out with that. It's as low as $10 per book, and he's got some of the fastest turnaround times, as well as being able to submit to CGC and CBCS for you. Be sure to use code WeAreLegion for that buy two, get the third free promo that we have going on. All right, guys, we're joined tonight by my main man with pots and pans. He decided to come back. Came home, guys. He was astray for a while, we know, but
pots and pans.
Yeah, my main man with pots and pans.
I just let him do whatever he wants, Tyler.
Chris,
it's all good, man.
I thought one of us was pots and one of us was pans.
No, and now we're also joined tonight for a special appearance by my main man, 50 Grand, aka Whack Weeks In, aka Tyler. What's going on?
50 grand of what?
50 grand of this.
Ignacio calls me Tyler. Oh, there's Nick. Nick's never on here.
That's actually not true. Nick's on here pretty consistently whenever.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay.
What's up, guys?
We got Nick, Tyler,
What's going on, brother?
joining us tonight. Of course, we're going to be getting to talk about comics, comic news, and all that, but special episode because, like we've done the past two times, we have the opportunity to. When a big movie comes out, we've all had a chance to watch it, or the majority of us. We try to talk about it and get into it and go full spoilers because all week long, or at least since it came out, we've been popping up on channels and having discussions, having to be cryptic and tap dance around what we're trying to say. So tonight, it changes and we get to go into full spoilers. So if you don't want to hear full spoilers, don't go anywhere. Listen anyways. So let's say hey to the chat real quick. We got Blue Hellion Comics in here. What is going on? And he's one of the channel members. We also have Ruben Guzman, another channel member in here. Appreciate you hopping in.
Way too hard on my wrist to do what you guys are doing.
That's because you've already worn your wrist out for the day, huh?
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Use your elbows.
Okay. The queen does this, so I guess I could do that, right? Like,
chicken it.
You know.
Great interview. What is going on? Long time short. We got the Panda Man himself up in here. Big Titus, all the way from the land of the rising sun. What is going on? He just dropped a video doing a shout out here. Digger Jim in the chat, another channel member, also just dropped a video today. His con haul.
Wearing a very nice shirt too, Jim. I see you. I see you.
Mm-hmm.
It was like his twin brother.
Yeah, cloning has been figured out. Yeah. He is the proof. Breed Love Asylum, what is going on? We got Brandon Looney Tune Fan 200 or 2000 up in the chat. You just celebrated a birthday, by the way. I appreciate that. Yeah, C-List Eman helped out with the intro there. What is going on, Nicholas? Tyler will give you a good wave here in a minute. Chris is up in the chat. We got Film Age Studios, all about the Dune talk. Fun fact, the Sandworm was modeled after your boy. So ladies holler at me. That explains the weird shape of its mouth.
Huh.
Ooh.
I hope everyone had a blessed day. You as well. You as well. Ignacio, what's going on, man? Tyler. Hey, dudes, anyone know where I can find a comic book presser with fast turnaround times?
Herbert on the money. Herbert on the
You just might have the guy for the job. What is going on, Sam? Glad you can pop over here. Let's see, hopping on me. And I think that's pretty much it. So we got Poke and Joe in the chat. I'm waving at all of you, or am I? Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Paul. All right. So, Tyler, I hope your arm made it. So I want to start with Dune. There's actually been a lot of comic book stuff, or there's been a lot of news in general. Let's start it off soft. Alec Baldwin shot someone.
2 people.
2 people, not just one.
He shot the director got hit too, right? Like
director and the cinematographer or something like that. 2 people.
Yeah, I think the cinematographer passed away, didn't he?
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
So
she was a mother of little ones as well.
Yeah, they were filming a new movie called Rust, and this was like the only reason I bring it up is because it's like the only other time. This is the second time in my lifetime that I've ever heard about this happening, where a gun on set that was deemed to be set safe actually shot and killed a person. And like me and Nick have talked about it numerous times because we're both Crow fans.
Yeah, I remember the day that we lost Brendan Lee.
Yeah, that's how Bruce Lee's son died. So that's actually crazy, and I can't imagine being anybody on that set. And I've seen photos of Alec Baldwin on set, I guess, around the time it happened, and he was like breaking down, which I can't even imagine. But that's crazy.
Survivor's remorse, guilt, sure, yeah.
Like from my experience, the dude's completely lovable. Like when you watch him and stuff, he seems like, I mean, I don't know the dude personally, but he seems like a decent dude. He doesn't come off like a prick that would.
I mean, Chris is the only guy on the panel who's killed somebody. I mean, it's got to feel terrible. Not the only guy. Tyler, you too?
I don't know.
What did
he didn't say it this time.
I don't talk about things that happened with you 5 years ago. I don't know why you're talking about things that happened with me last week.
We got a $5 super chat from Dan. I appreciate that, man. Tyler rocks. Cool Chris. Legendary Nick. And the Mark Spark. I like that.
Mark Spark.
Yeah, I can remember the day that Brandon Lee passed away and how tragic that was. And I can remember learning a little bit about the Crow at the time and thinking, well, I guess I'll never know anything about the Crow other than if I can get my hands on the comic books. But, they turned around and released the film, with a lot of other... Has Chris killed?
That's...
The starvation count? I don't know.
Savage.
Define killed, because death in comics are totally different from what happens in real life. But pets don't have souls, so I can do what I want. But anyways,
not all dogs go to heaven.
Oh my god!
The show's off to a blistering start.
Awesome. Billy Graham once said, "The Lord knows what makes you happy." So maybe your pets will be waiting for you in heaven if you can make it to heaven.
True.
Odds are stacked against me at this point.
No. I've got the penthouse suite and right near Charlie Manson, I guess, at this point.
With every stream I get a little closer.
I was told I'm going to hell on a scholarship. But anyways, Alec Baldwin shot somebody. We did get I don't think we got any kind of official news, but there's like this crazy rumor or these news and posts that have gone out all over the place about Disney going to be working on an upcoming Hulk project after She-Hulk, and it's supposed to be geared toward World War Hulk.
Hey, can we just take a moment to point out Dan's extremely perfect pun? Perfect.
This stream is killing it.
Way to go, Dan.
Jim Baker said,
COVID-19.
But yeah, I don't I did not see that news coming about the Hulk. Obviously, it can't be a standalone Hulk movie. You would have to be like featured in an ensemble cast because of the rights still belong to Universal Studios. And I don't know how much longer they are able to hold them without producing a film or something, because that's been like the golden rule with Sony with all the properties that they held, like Blade and X-Men and Spider-Man. They have to produce a film every so often or they relinquish the rights. So I guess Universal doesn't have that same rule with the Hulk deal. But we do know that he can only appear in an ensemble cast, So how they'll pull that off, I don't know. I'm afraid that it would be just kind of like a bastardized version of the story, since we've already gotten like a bastardized version of it included in Thor Ragnarok, which was like Contest of Champions and World War Hulk and just all mushed together.
They teased us with the idea of Beta Ray Bill.
Yeah, with the statue head.
Yeah.
There's still rumors. I haven't seen any recently, but I know that there was talks about him popping up in Love and Thunder, right?
Yeah, I've even heard Guardians of the Galaxy 3 too. Like,
okay,
who knows? Who knows?
Nobody.
I don't know, but Mephisto should be showing up at any point now.
Right.
I'm expecting Boba Fett to show up in Guardians 3. What's going on?
He's going to be in the next Spider-Man movie, man. When they cross all the multiverses.
We got Brian up in the chat. Actual Dracula, what is going on? This is the same hairstyle. It's just hair.
He does that to taunt us, Chris. You know that, right?
It's true. It's true. And then every so often, Tyler will whip off his hat and just do the same thing.
Cool little gray streak to Tyler.
No, I cut my hair. See? It's short now.
Look at that hairline. It's almost as good as Mark's. Almost.
I don't think I've lost any hair, really. It doesn't really matter, though. I wear a hat all the time, so I could be bald. I don't really care.
Yeah, see, this is what it looks like when I try to cross it, Scott. Can you see
it? Nick has one hell of a shocker, though.
Oh my
the French tickler.
Oh, oui, bonjour, Monsieur Nick.
That's a good question. Do you know French?
Bastardized.
Yeah,
I can handle a little bit if I were to be stuck in Quebec. I can handle a little bit to get around, but that's about it. I couldn't have a flow conversation.
Yeah, that's kind of like if I got dumped in like a Spanish-speaking area, I can get home like with what I know, you know what I mean? But I can't really hold like a good conversation by any stretch of the imagination. But I took like 4 years of Spanish through high school and completed 2 years worth of Spanish.
Well, that's the same thing with me.
Let's see real quick.
4 years of high school and 2 years of French, and I can remember my name in French. That's about it.
Mm-hmm.
What is it?
Chris.
Yes.
That's boring.
Oh man, I pitched that one down the middle, didn't I?
I wonder what mine is. I wonder if mine's Chris.
Probably Tyler.
Tyler.
Exactly.
You got to say the R with sticking out your tongue. Tyler.
Image announced that they are not doing second printings temporarily during the paper shortage. So I highly recommend that everybody, if you plan on wanting to read an Image book, you put all Image number ones on your pull list, because that's about to happen. A lot of people, I'm sure, at the side of that news probably switched up to all Image number ones, or they're going to be jumping on top of them. Because I made the point in I don't know what group chat I was in. I'm in a lot of them, but I'm one of those people with a lot of indie titles. If I hear it's awesome, I'll go back and grab it to start reading it or something. But with the shortage, and they don't normally overprint too many indie titles, it might drive that market. You might see those flying off the shelf.
I think that's wonderful. I hope every other publisher follows suit, at least for the time being.
During the paper shortage?
Yeah.
And I know that a while back, Boom limited their retailer exclusives to where they were only allowing retailer exclusives for issue number ones of new series, and not like 15,000 retailer exclusives for issue number 16 of this series and so forth. And at the same time, IDW, without putting out any specific guidelines, they limited the number of retailer exclusives that they were doing, and they did it in the middle of The Last Ronin. So a lot of artists and retailers that had stuff set up already got their legs cut out from under them when IDW decided to do that. That was before the paper shortage.
Yeah. I'm curious to see what Image is going to do when it comes to their retailer exclusives. On top of it all, because as we all know, at the Department of Truth, with every issue, there seems to be a growing number of copies that are produced. Like, I think the last one had almost 25 different retailer, and online exclusives out there. So yeah, they may be saying that we're not doing second printings, but come on, like
There'll be an increase in the retailers. I mean,
like I've it's two steps forward, one back, I think, when it comes to that whole idea.
well, normally the retailer exclusives are typically on the first prints too, though, right?
But yeah,
I mean, we've seen them on second prints of stuff.
Yeah, there's like Frankie's comes to mind with like one of the larger retailers that does second printings with different covers and that kind of thing. I don't know how Tyler gets his hand to like just go like rubber. That's like
It's impressive.
I have a really weak wrist.
It's
Okay.
oh, okay.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to bring up is the Marvel movie delays. Your thoughts?
I didn't know there was delays.
Yeah. So on Monday, they decided I think it was last week though, wasn't it?
Earlier.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the punchline. Go ahead.
There's not a punchline, but Monday they have like their whole slate of 2022 movies, and they pushed all of them back in time. Like
one slot over.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Chris, you want to say what I'm thinking?
I know what he's going to say. He's going to say, "Oh, they got scared by fandom, so they pushed everything back."
I don't think they did. I don't think they got scared by fandom at all. But I know anybody with a working brain would not try to release Doctor Strange on the same week as Batman.
Is that what was supposed to happen? The Multiverse of Madness was coming out against
Batman.
The Batman?
Yes.
That'd be an interesting that would be an interesting battle. I think they should push Spider-Man back and put it up against Batman. We'll find out what's really up.
No, you know what? I think Marvel it's still going to be cutting their money in half. You know what I mean? There's going to still be people. It'll win the box office, I'm sure, but it won't be as big as they expect it to be.
I'm not sure if it would win.
I'm not sure if it would win either. Not against the Batman.
I don't know, man.
I'm not sure. It could, but I don't know.
If the Batman comes out rated R, I got bad news. If it went up against Doctor Strange,
how much did the Joker make at the box office?
What did it go against?
Yeah, what did it open up against?
Saying in terms of, I couldn't tell you, but for an R-rated movie, high drama, just about the Joker told through the lens of a non-comic book style, it made over $1 billion.
But that's because it was an excellent film.
Exactly.
If
that's
it was
my
just
point.
a crappy film, it wouldn't have made that.
Oh, I don't think it would. That's what I'm saying. So, like, and I kind of have this feeling that DC, not DC specifically, they're not in charge of making the movies, you know what I mean? But I think that just looking at the style of these movies that we saw, they look so vastly different from each other, you know what I mean? Like, it looks like they might be, because from the Snyder Cut, even though Wonder Woman wasn't great, that wasn't, whatever, Patty Jenkins still made her movie, they let Snyder.
Which one, 84?
Yeah, 84. Like
the first Wonder Woman was great.
Yeah, it was exceptional. And then the Suicide Squad with James Gunn, he was allowed to make his movie. So we're seeing the trend that should have been happening years ago, where they're hiring someone to do a job, and then they're doing this weird thing where they allow them to do the job. So as long as Matt Reeves is capable of making a good movie, which I don't think he's has he made a bad one yet?
What has he made?
I don't know his resume that well.
Yeah, let's get all of them up. I know he's done he's the architect for the new Planet of the Apes franchise.
Yeah, that's all. That's basically what I know.
Cloverfield.
Okay.
Oh, he's doing Mouse.
Cloverfield is a love or hate kind of movie. You either love it or you hate it. Some people, I love it. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
but I thought that was more of a J.J. Abrams offering than Matt Reeves.
He was the producer, wasn't he, J.J.?
He was the director.
Okay.
He's also done a lot of TV. Felicity. 5 episodes of Felicity.
All right. Well, I can't knock that because the Russo brothers did Community right before they stepped into the Winter Soldier.
So he doesn't have a ton of movies under his belt. It looks like he's really made the name for himself with the Planet of the Apes flicks.
Is it supposed to be rated R?
I don't believe so. I haven't seen anything that's about the rating yet.
I haven't either.
No, I saw some trickle down like clickbait stuff saying that it may fall into the rated R kind of stuff on violence alone. And then I thought, well, I guess it'll perform in the neighborhood of what Deadpool and Deadpool 2 did.
I feel like if it was rated R and it was up against Doctor Strange, that would make me want to see the Batman even more to see why it's rated R.
Yeah,
it's curious. We can debate this, but the truth is
1.074 billion, and that's because, like you said, it was a good movie, and people kept going back and talking about it and going back, and yeah.
But
yeah, it probably is how Andy Serkis got on board. You do see like directors like come with certain actors with a lot of their projects and stuff.
Yeah, and then Serkis just did Venom too. So, yeah. But the truth is, we can debate Doctor Strange versus the Batman. But the truth of the matter is, probably 3 of the 4 of us on this panel would see both movies opening weekend. So,
oh yeah,
I would see the Batman
first, though.
Yeah, I would definitely see the Batman first.
I would see the Batman first.
Doctor Strange first.
I would. I'd see for sure Doctor Strange first, just to see how that story is progressing, and then the day later I'd see the Batman.
Yeah,
right.
Dune. Everybody on the panel, other than Chris, has seen Dune.
Chris, what are you doing?
Chris didn't see Dune?
No.
This is a side effect of living.
Is it out in Canada?
Wonderland.
Well, yeah, it's by a Canadian director. So, to be honest, I don't care for Villeneuve that much. I detested the Sting offering of the 80s. I tried to get through the novel as a teenager. I wasn't sold on it. I was more of an Isaac Asimov fan when it came to deep, dark space and sci-fi, but to each their own that way. And, I read House of Treaties from Boom Studios. It wasn't for me. So will I see Dune? Probably. Do I know what happens? Hell yes.
Okay, so you can talk about
yeah. So yeah, like I've grown up with Dune and the characters from Dune, so we can put Aquaman in there, we can put Moon Knight in there. It's still what it is. I know what's going to happen. MJ, the whole 9 yards. But was it visually, guys? Was it visually a beautiful film?
I watched it on TV at home, and it was amazing. So I can't even imagine what it'd be like on an IMAX screen.
Yeah, I saw it in theaters. I thought visually it was like a 10 out of 10. It was incredible. It was like you were somewhere completely different.
So basically, Villeneuve just carried his tech that he had with Blade Runner and just carried it into Dune, just on a bigger, brighter scale. Because I always felt his Blade Runner was just as dark as what the original Ridley Scott offering was.
Yeah, it sure was bleak.
Yeah. It's.
I agree with this, and Nick said it because he watched it the day before I did, and he said it's 2.5 hours, but it doesn't feel like it, and it definitely did not. There's a couple like real like banger moments in it, and the movie itself is pretty tame, all said and done. Like it's not like this crazy nuts war movie or anything, but for those that don't know, it's part 1. Like they didn't advertise that on the trailers for it or everything. It just said Dune. So when you sit down in the theater, and it doesn't say it on the movie posters either. So when you sit down in the theater, we had no trailers, which I thought was amazing. We sat down, the lights went out. They said, turn off your cell phones or we'll murder your family. And then the movie started. And me and my wife were like, oh, this is great. And it said Dune comes up, and then it fades in and says part 1. And we're like, oh, wow. So they were really banking on this one being a hit because they agreed to him making a 2-movie thing. I don't think it's meant to be 3 movies. I think they agreed to just 2. Mm-hmm. But I think that was a good idea because this movie was paced out well. They don't spoon feed you all the information of like this world that you're in and these characters and the dynamics of everything. You kind of just like, it's very dramatic. Like it's very character driven, and you start picking up on everything that's going on. and the characters on and off screen through the dialogues of the characters you're following, which I highly enjoyed. They didn't pretend like the viewers were idiots.
Yeah, I thought it was mostly easy to follow. There's a few times where I was definitely confused, but then kind of learned more as the story progressed. But going back, I think I'll understand it even a little more, but it didn't affect the movie for me negatively.
Did you have trailers in your screening?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
And I was confused mostly about his visions, because we've been led to believe, I think, the whole time in our lives that whenever a character sees something, that it's always true. And that's not the case in this movie.
What part wasn't true?
Like when he saw himself getting killed by the guy he fought at the end.
Oh yeah, that's like, I think that was the first time because that they really showed it like that. Because everything else we haven't seen it happen necessarily yet. But when he started watching that fight play out, I told my wife this is kind of cheating, because it was almost like he was figuring out how it was going to go. But damn, I didn't even think about that since I saw it. That kind of sucks, because so Jason Momoa plays this badass named Duncan, and he is an absolute beast. But he definitely, you see him fall in battle. But after he falls in battle, you see Paul have a vision where even though the people are wearing like coverings and stuff because they're out in the desert, their eyes are showing. And in that vision, you can clearly tell that it was Jason Momoa in one of those suits. Because when it showed it, me and my wife both start smacking each other. Like, maybe he's not dead. Maybe he'll pop up. Or maybe this is just a vision to Duncan's time on the planet before they got there. Because Duncan was sent to this new planet as a scout, basically, for the House of Atreides to kind of get settled in, to establish himself, to find the natives of the planet that are called the Fremen, and to try to kind of form an alliance with them, because the House of Atreides knew that they were being set up for an okie doke in this film, and they were trying to get ahead of it, and it did not work out. It was very tragic for that family.
They're talking about different books. Paul is talking about different. I didn't know there was different books.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his son had written something after he passed to bridge the time, I think, before this movie. Kind of give history of where human race was and what led up to where we're at right now in the movie.
So this movie also left a lot of questions unanswered, obviously, with it just being the first part. Like, Josh Brolin plays this military leader for the House of Atreides, and they do a good job building him up. What is that?
Gurney is his name.
Okay, got you. Oh, did you just put everyone's names up there so for reference points?
No.
Okay. Yeah, but so they establish him in a really cool way. Like I was talking about how they don't spoon feed this stuff to you. Like, you see him like talking with I forget what they're called. They're practically lords. Like, you have this intergalactic political system going on. You have this emperor who's not seen, and there's these different planets. Like, you have the House of Atreides is like on Caledon or something like that. It's the planet they rule over. You have the Hyracans that are on their old planet world that they rule over, and they all answer to this emperor. They're basically like, the emperor's the king, and these different houses are lords. You know, it's almost like old-timey setup like that. But so the Hyracans get taken off of whatever the planet that Dune takes place on is called. I forget. It begins with an A or something. I don't know.
Arrakis.
But Arrakis. Mm-hmm. They're mining what's called spice, which is a hallucinogen, as well as like their fuel source that makes interplanetary travel possible. So the Hyracans have gotten rich over the years by kind of ruling this planet with an iron thumb and mining this spice. And they get the emperor's told them to pull out, just leave, go home with no explanation. And it pissed them off because they became like the most wealthy lords out there. And then he immediately assigns the House of Atreides to go over there and take their place and start mining in their place. And the House of Atreides knew something was up. And you find out just from slick dialogue that the emperor that you never see is very jealous and saw like the House of Atreides kind of like rising up in the ranks just on their own, you know, not like they're coming for the throne, but he was just told to be a very jealous ruler. So he sets him up knowing that the Hyracans are going to come back and want their kingdom back. Basically, they're going to want their gold mine back. And that's exactly what we see happen. But along the way, you hear the Hyracans talking to each other about how we should go about doing it. And one of their main concerns is that the House of Atreides army is trained by Gurney. Like, so they make a couple of little sly statements through it so that you know that Josh Brolin's character is a total bamf. And he is too, because when everything hits the fan and Huracan come in just invading, just blowing up all their stuff right upon entering, Gurney runs out there with barely anything but a sword in his hand with a few guys on his back, just running into an army. And then when people start getting closer, he just starts walking up to him, just cuts them down and kind of gives a battle cry and screams for his guys on me, and then he just runs in and you never see him again. So like if he's still alive or not, who knows? I'm definitely kind of like wanting to, like my wife said, pick up the books and find out, or either go back and watch the original movie or the Sci-Fi Channel movies. But at the same time, I don't want to spoil it. But hopefully this new one will get greenlit, though.
Is it still not?
I don't know.
Oh. I'm sure they filmed the whole thing and they just cut it in half.
No, I think
No,
they
they
didn't.
haven't.
No?
They didn't. No,
Uh-huh.
They agreed to a 2-movie deal with stipulations, I think. Like, this movie has to perform.
And I think Ryan had put the numbers out, and I think it's outperformed its budget already. Which, when he said the budget, I was in awe of it only being like 150 million. I think he said it was.
Yeah.
Austin
So,
lives Dune every day.
So right now, Dune is at 220 million globally. So they've exceeded their budget, but that's not how. I think that you want to double a budget to be considered a financial success. Yeah, because you can't just like make your money
Advertising
back
is very
and it was all
expensive.
for nothing, you know. Well, I think the advertising is built into the budget too, though. But like, if all you're doing is making your money back, what are you doing? What are you doing it for? You know what I mean? If I go buy a comic for $10 and sell it for $10, all I did was waste my time at that point. But Jason Momoa was another standout character for me. He played Duncan, who's like he's like their military hotshot. You know, like he's not high up in the ranks or anything, but he's that dude. And when the whole invasion was happening, you kind of just catch up with him walking through the halls looking like a pirate. You know, he's not in any of his battle gear. You know, just in leisure clothes. And as soon as he sees bad guys, he's one of those dudes that just smiles because he knows he's about to get to kill them. You know, it's like, oh, thank you for showing up so I can kill you. Start Paw Patrol over? I can definitely do that. But he starts cutting people down, trying to get out of the palace that's been completely invaded, and he knows the only way out is by air. So he's trying, yeah. So he's like fighting his way out, and you see like a few of their flyers out on the landing or whatever it would be, and there's a lot of guys in between him and it. He's just going at him, like he's always outnumbered in every fight he was in, and it's finally just like between him and about 4 or 5 guys right around the glider, and he just points at him. That's all he has to do, and they just put their hands up and walk away. It gets to that point where there's like, yeah, this guy's just going to kill us. But it was super dope.
I don't know if he's dead either.
Dune is famous for its readability and world building. Definitely read it. The app Libby and a library gives you access to your area's audiobooks tonight. I'm not familiar with that. An app called Libby or Libby, I'm assuming. I'm always where all the cool kids are at.
Go watch Paw Patrol. I'll be back.
Duncan Idaho is a great character. Yeah, and unfortunately, he does die in this movie. Like, they lead you to believe that he might be dead, he might not be dead, but Paul, his mother, and Duncan get out, and they're hiding with the Fremen, and they're working on figuring out a plan when they get caught up to. And Duncan pretty much locks himself in a hallway with like a small battalion of these very, very high-trained fighters, and he takes out at least a good 15 of them. Like he takes him out. He's completely swarmed. I mean, like they're on top of him and they put a knife through him, like a sword through him, and he falls. And they start cutting open the door where Paul's on the other side. And then you see Duncan's back and he just stands up, sword still in him, and takes out a bunch more before he falls again. It was epic.
But
then, like I mentioned, we could have sworn like he was in one of the later visions. So.
And then I gave him 2 kisses on my mouth.
that's very sweet.
Go down, please.
It was a very different movie for me personally. I think basically we start with Act 1 and we live in Act 1 for like how long? Maybe an hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes. Like we're in Act 1 basically for the whole length of a movie. And I don't know if that's a negative thing, but it's so different. And I saw a lot of people complain about how boring it was. I think it wasn't boring to me, but I understand why people may think that, because usually Act 1's like half hour or less for many movies, and then we get into Act 2, and I don't even think we're through Act 2. We like just kind of got into the thick of it. But,
yeah. Well, I would put Act 2 at the point when they get to Arrakis easily.
I think it's like when they get attacked. That's kind of where things changed.
I almost feel like this movie could have 3 acts to it, because like I kind of broke it down to like them getting to Arrakis, that short time with them actually trying to function on Arrakis, where you have them just kind of setting up. You see them going out and looking at their equipment, and then they get attacked. And then after that, it's just kind of like it's on, like they're just running the rest of the movie. Yeah,
I felt like it's weird. It's a weird movie. It doesn't compare to anything else. Like Chapter 1, I guess, would be a comparison, but Chapter 1 is like complete. I can just watch that movie and love it, and I don't need anything else, and I don't want to watch Chapter 2 because I didn't like it. But this, I feel like it's not over. It's almost like reading an issue 1 of a really good book.
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to go now, but now we gotta wait years.
God, I hope that's not the case. But like you said, it's they didn't make the second one yet.
Yeah,
they didn't Richard Donner it.
It's gonna be like 3 years minimum.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, I would still highly recommend
actors are busy.
Check it out. Yeah, because that's a good point. Because Momoa has been on the set of Aquaman still. Like I think that's what he's working. They're still working on that right now.
Right. Oscar Isaac is doing Moon Knight. I don't know if this character falls in this movie or if they're saving that for later.
He's definitely dead.
Okay.
He went out like a boss there.
Okay. And his wife is, I believe his wife is in Momoa's C as well.
Oh, is she going to be in Aquaman?
No, in his TV show C, where Momoa plays that blind character.
I don't know.
Or the entire planet's blind.
On Apple TV.
Yeah, is that on Apple TV? Because I haven't heard of it.
I don't have Apple TV, but I know it's filmed.
I think it is.
Trailers for Apple TV, and there's so much like good looking stuff. There's a new Tom Hanks movie coming out. It looks like Wall-E, starring Tom Hanks.
Yeah, it's out already. And there's another show there on Apple TV called Mythic Quest with the guy who wrote
It's Always Sunny
in Philadelphia. Hilarious.
Okay.
See, and I don't even know what the other big roles in Dune would be.
Either.
So, like, we got introduced to the Fremen, which, like, we pretty much have, like, this lady who we thought, like, was, like, really entrenched with him. And in my mind, she was about to, like, I told my wife, I wonder if she's, like, their queen or their leader. And she ends up dying in this movie.
So mad about that.
Yeah, very unexpectedly. I did not see that coming.
So the first act, was it mostly political then?
Yes.
Dealing with the Emperor's orders. Okay, so it sounds like it stays close to the original source material.
Yeah, it stayed
Dune, the original novel, it was a hard read. It was a hard read that way, just because it was a lot of like to me it was, you can kind of compare it to Game of Thrones, just with a lot of different families representing different portions of areas that were leadership there, but they all fell under one rule, and the ruler was essentially a figurehead that was not seen. So it sounds like they stuck pretty close to the source material. I always thought Game of Thrones was a little bit of a medieval ripoff of Dune. But to each
it said that George Lucas had talked about how he was heavily inspired and drew a lot of influences from Dune for Star Wars even.
Yep.
I ate
it's samurai. There was a certain samurai story as well.
Yeah, you could really see that in, like, what is it called? The Voice.
Mm-hmm.
The Voice is very
the Force
similar
and
to the Force.
Sandworms or the Great Dragons or the Sarlacc.
Yep.
Dude, those sandworms are huge in this movie. Huge. Like really huge. And it was cool. And the very last thing we see is somebody riding one. Like he's got like hooks thrown in at his reins, and he's literally riding a sandworm through the desert.
For as awesome as that seemed, it was a little corny to me.
Yeah, because there's no context for it.
Yeah,
Like,
but it's supposed to play, it's supposed to play a big role in the next one.
did it have that Doctor Strangelove flavor to it?
Well, they gave you, like, if you like, again, this movie, if you pay attention, there's a lot to catch. There's a lot of little nuances and little things said that really set up for what you see later. Like I was pointing out with like the whole Gurney, kind of his rep and what to expect when you see him do his thing. And then that girl who I was mentioning that I thought was going to be like the leader of the Fremen, when she's trying to get away, she goes out and stands on a sand dune. She goes and she puts a thumper in the ground, which is just a device that hits the ground and it guarantees it's going to attract a sandworm. That's their desert. So you see it coming and you're like, is she trying to like get it here to get these bad guys? Is she going to run from it? She's just standing there and she just pulls out these hooks and she's standing there waiting on it. And that's when she gets killed. So you don't see what she's going to use them for. So then at the end of the movie, when you see the person on the sandworm, you see what her intentions were at that point. So there's a lot of, like, again, they don't spoon feed you at all in this movie. They assume that the viewer is paying attention, is going to get entrenched and watch this movie, which I love movies like that. You know, it's the total opposite of fast food cinema.
But how good, I keep saying this, but how good this movie is for me will depend on what goes on in the second one.
For sure. Oh yeah. That's 100% because we watched half a movie. It's like if it doesn't finish well, I'm never gonna watch this movie again. Like after the second one comes out. Like why?
You know, the very last word spoken in this movie is "This is only the beginning," and then it cuts off.
That should have been the title of the movie.
Yeah, Dune. This is only the beginning. It was pretty good. But I definitely recommend that anybody, if you have the opportunity to go out and see it on large format, definitely do it because the visuals, the special effects, the way that it was shot was intended to be seen on the big screen. There's a lot of detailed sets and stuff to look at. It's absolutely gorgeous. And the director did a really cool job. And I just mentioned this on Panda Stream. Like he did it like after the CG was done, like you can make things look a very specific way with special effects these days. And he went a different route. Instead of it looking polished, it almost looked like you put a dry rub over it. You know what I mean? Where it almost looks like it isn't necessarily super modern, but it is very, very detailed where it counts. I think he did that to kind of play into his environment. I definitely got Blade Runner feels as some of the camera shots, like when you see like some of the ships landing and they're looking through the trees and like, I don't know.
I love the ships too, like the Dragonfly ships.
When they would get destroyed, oh my God.
Yeah, y'all want to talk some comic books?
Yeah, I'm going to have to head off here in a couple minutes.
No worries, man. I appreciate you heading on.
Thank you for having me. Fandom happens here.
Those books come back yet? Or Monday?
I can probably go pick them up tomorrow.
Awesome sauce. No rush.
Yeah, I'll pick them up early so this way I'll have them in the mail to you the same day.
Oh, awesome. Good. I'm excited. Paul said he liked the first book, struggled through the second book, couldn't get past the first 60 pages of the third book. Yeesh. Yeah, the sound was unreal. Hans Zimmer did the soundtrack, right?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah, it was very great. Aggressive said it was like visiting a Dune amusement park for me. I can't wait to see more of this. I just kept mumbling, we're just chilling here. Hey, Chip.
Chip put out some video today about the
original art. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
And I gotta say, the goatee's looking good there, Mr. Gettler.
Mm-hmm.
See why your wife married you.
So let's get into some books. Chris, what did you pick up this week?
I picked up.
Let me ask you more appropriately. Show us what you got.
Lonely City, my read of the week, was also my pick of the week too.
Oh, really? I didn't read that.
Thor.
Hey, was the last page of that book pretty awesome or what?
Of Thor?
Lonely City?
No, Thor.
Yeah.
Thor.
Oh, Thor. Well, yeah. Yeah, the new Avengers team.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I thought it was really fun. This was actually a good read as well. Doctor Strange, we got to see the three mothers show up in it. This was Mark's pick for the week, Gunslinger Spawn, and this particular cover as well. I haven't read Phoenix Song Echo yet, nor have I read probably Mark's favorite DC title right now, Son of Kal-El.
It's up there, but definitely not my favorite.
King Shark, Black Manta. We've been seeing this type of cover a lot lately, haven't we? Where someone's just kind of jumping into a large monster's mouth.
Got Venom 3 vibes.
Hulk 1 just got shown where Stegman's doing a Hulk 1 homage to Venom 3, because why not?
Mm-hmm. The new Batman and the incredibly sinister Eat the Rich. So that's it for me. My wallet still isn't happy with me, but it is what it is.
So I read Eat the Rich, Superman, Son of Kal-El, Batman 115. That was this week, right?
Yeah.
I hate that. Ice Cream Man, Not All Robots, Suicide Squad, House of Slaughter, which comes out next week, and Nightwing.
Wait, you read House of Slaughter?
Yeah.
I need to get on your level. Everybody's reading everything a month early. How does that happen?
Just be like, hey, Tyler, can you send me?
Yeah.
It's only a couple days. Something to do with the hair, man. It's got something to do with the hair.
Days.
Yeah,
those hair people stick together.
It's a question away, Nick. It's like, Tyler, can you send me House of Slaughter?
I didn't even know. If I knew that was a resource, I would have. Tyler, send me the House of
Tyler,
Slaughter.
Can you send me House of Slaughter?
You forgot to say please, so don't even send it, Tyler.
So what was odd for me this week, it was pretty much the least amount I've spent probably since my first week buying comics again. The Thor I bought in red, I thought it was good. The Phoenix Echo I picked up because I was interested, but it's got a lot of the same Phoenix vibes about, the struggle, whoever is being possessed by it. What else did I read?
So same narrative, different character?
Yeah, same thing. I think that might have been it. I picked up the High Republic also, but I didn't read that one yet. And I think that was it.
And didn't you pick up a Grail this week? Like a legit Grail this week?
Yes.
I actually picked up another one while we were just on the stream.
The same book?
No, not that same book.
I was about to say, all right, time to wheel and deal a little bit. You picked up another same book.
I can't do that, man.
I'll show you the Grail that I picked up.
Boom.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And Mark agrees that I got it at a good deal, which makes me happy.
I definitely do.
Under over 5.
What?
No, what you paid under over 5.
5 what? Schmeckles?
500, man. What
Dude,
are we doing here?
Over 500, definitely.
You know how much that book goes for?
Yeah.
Under over 5?
Over 5, man. I don't even have to know.
You need to be talking over under a couple more 500s.
Yeah.
For a 5.5? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Pardon my ignorance.
That book's gone way up.
Yeah, that thing is shot up.
I still paid like $300 or $400 on the FMV for it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
And if you give me a second, I'll show you the CGC version of what I just picked up.
Okay. Hey, Ryan, what's going on?
Are you literally in the doghouse right now?
If I had one, yes, it would probably be just like this.
Oh.
What'd you read this week?
Everything.
Awesome.
What did you have for dinner tonight
then? Actually, I haven't really had dinner. I had a very late lunch. I had some tamales. As far as reading, I read pretty much everything that I've been missing since July over the last 2 weeks. So I have one more issue of Department of Truth, and then I'll be caught up on like all the books that I've been missing out on, including books that I didn't even start because I knew I didn't have time for them.
I see that you saved one of the best for last, though. That Department of Truth, it was fantastic.
Yeah, I just finished the issue where Cole goes home, so we got one more.
Yeah,
Hey, Scott, if that's a real offer, Scott, I may take you up on that. So what I just picked up,
Oh boy.
American Chavez.
I picked up the CBCS version, same grade. Also, probably about 400 less than FMV.
I know why you bought another one. Me and you both read the same movie spoilers.
Well, I knew she was coming for a long time. She's coming in that.
She's been cast, hasn't she?
Yeah, some
Yes.
weird name too, Xochitl something or other.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, she'll be in Doctor Strange. So that book will explode. So that's why, for the price I got it for, I was like, yeah.
Another reason why it would outdo the Batman.
Because American Chavez is way more popular than Batman, you're right.
Yeah, definitely.
It's true. No one wants to see a member
Absolutely.
of the 1%.
I don't even know who American Chavez is.
That Batman Catwoman was fantastic. I did pick up 2 copies of that first Blue Suit Aquaman. They were at my LCS. And yeah, end up sending those back out to a community in one way, shape, fashion, or form down the road. So grab those while they were there. But there were some really good reads this week. It was definitely a good week for reading. You guys want to jump on any specific titles first? What's got you excited?
Sure.
Eat the Rich.
So that's the 3rd issue. Oh, you cut them out. Okay.
No, I can cut them out. I'm just kidding.
I just wonder if it got less tropey after the first issue.
No, more.
More?
Yeah.
The second issue, the writer who came up with their own slang term for specific narcotic pharmaceutical to use in the book, and it just sounded ridiculous. What were they called? Like, pass me the sets. I need the sets. Like talking about Percocets or something. It was
Pins.
Yeah, the pins, the colada pins. Give me the pins. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It was painful to read that second issue.
Yeah. I like the idea where these 1%ers, if you want to call them that, the ultra rich, you can work for them and have an incredible life and take care of your family, but when you hit 65, you're pot roast. Like I think that's an interesting storyline for a book, and to me it sums up Boom Studios, like right down the middle.
Their staff.
No, I just think nice. That's pretty good. I just think, if you're gonna have something that's totally absurd but sounds kind of fascinating, Boom Studios is the way you want to go.
Yeah, but then you just have to actually deliver a good story, though.
Yeah, I know Mark is going to disagree with me here, but it kind of reminds me of Beyond the Grid from the Power Rangers run, where like the full concept, like the big picture of it sounded great. I imagine the pitch was awesome, but once it comes down to the writing and the details, like it's just not quite there for me. It doesn't work.
I agree. I'm going to disagree with you on that. But, yeah, I really enjoyed Beyond the Grid. They just took some big steps in it that I can forgive, like the writing not being what it was with the print. You know what I'm saying? Like those little things didn't bother me. But that's just because there's a lot of that just has like the fanboy in me for Power Rangers. It was forgiving it. Like I wouldn't expect just like a lay person trying to get into the book to feel the same way at all, though. That's definitely my bias.
Yeah, I enjoy that run. I think like the big concept and the big ideas are great. It's just issue to issue, it didn't really flow well enough for me. And that's kind of how I feel about Eat the Rich. Like the big concept, the big idea I really like. I just don't really care for the execution on page, issue to issue,
Yeah, and I read Beyond the Grid in trade form also. I sat down in here, so there's probably...
I picked it up one by one.
Yeah. 65, you can get another 5 years out of them. What are they doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. What else did y'all read this week?
Lonely City.
The Catwoman. Tell me. I didn't pick that one up. You out, Nick?
Yeah, I'm going to be out. Sorry to cut you guys off, but I'll
No, it's fine. It's fine.
talk to you during the week. Later,
See ya.
chat. Thank you for coming.
It's because I'm here.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I love you, Ryan.
Yeah.
Don't see enough of you.
Yeah, I thought Lonely City by Cliff Chiang. I don't want to mispronounce the creator's last name, but I thought this was terrific. It basically takes place 10 years after the events of Fool's Night, where Gotham City Police Department seems to get blown up, and we lose Gordon, we lose Batman, we lose Nightwing, and 10 years later, it looks like Selina takes the fall for all of them passing away tragically. What seems to be in a big bombing of the police department. She gets mysteriously released early from prison, and she returns to Gotham City, which has totally been revamped under Mayor Harvey Dent. Crime's gone, the city's cleaned up, but the policemen and the police, I shouldn't say the policemen, but the police force seems to have been taking a Batman type of look. They all have like a cowl, similar to what Batman wore 10 years previously, and they don't take much crap. They're incredibly aggressive when they go to talk to people, and they kind of have that Terminator type of, when they look at someone, they can find out who they are right away, and find out if they're hostile or not, and pull up their criminal record. And it's basically Selina trying to get her footing back in Gotham. She approaches the Penguin, who's still alive, but has shifted gears from what he was doing originally. And she asked him basically for a loan, and he laughed her off. So that didn't work out for her. And the only thing that she has left was a rundown building that she lived in the penthouse of. But that portion of Gotham has been quarantined, so no one's allowed to live there anymore. So it's basically worthless for her. She approaches Gordon's daughter and tries to hammer out something with her, but that falls apart. No one wants anything to do with Catwoman. Afterwards, she figures out that she needs to do one more big score, and after she visits Killer Croc, as the narrative gets released that she wants to find out who Orpheus is, and she wants to do one more big theft, and what she wants to steal from is the Batcave, and that's basically where it leads into the second issue, which will be out in December. But Two-Face is aware of what's happening and basically wants her to go and do something so that he can arrest her, get it all on film, and use that as his next ticket to being reelected as mayor of Gotham City.
Mode, or is he in Harvey Dent mode?
He claims to be in Harvey Dent mode. There's an interview with him on a local TV show in the issue where he says that, in the end, he had to welcome Two-Face, that personality, into his life in order to defeat Two-Face, to become the better person, and realize that he has to live with the scars of having a Two-Face, and but he presents well when he has to politically, but you can obviously tell that there's still those sinister overtones that always belong with Two-Face.
So is his face scarred up in it?
Yeah, it's not. It seems like it's the artwork isn't that type of artwork where everything is gonna make the negative look absolutely terrible when it comes to Two-Face. The artwork is something that's a little bit different, but his Two-Face is kind of just pasteled down a little bit, not negatively, just he's aged 10 years forward. So everything on this side of the face is now whited out because he's essentially becoming an older man. I can show you a take of how he looks now. So this is Cliff Chiang's Two-Face in the conversation he's having with an elder Selina Kyle.
That looks pretty cool.
The artwork is, I thought, really, really good. DC has given Cliff Chiang full creative control, written, drawn, colored, and lettered, and he's done all the covers except for the ratio, which is done by Jock. It's my read of the week. I thought it was just really, really cool. She gets out of prison. Obviously, she's not in game shape anymore, so she quickly tries to start doing stuff that she thought she couldn't. Every other step that she takes, she's always moaning and groaning, and the knees aren't what they used to be. Kind of like what the bride went through in Kill Bill when she first came out of the coma. You saw that that she
atrophy.
yeah. So you get, like, not to say that she's dealing with atrophy, but she's dealing with a lot of old joints that are screaming at her as she's trying to get back in shape.
And Ryan, you read this one as well?
Yes, sir.
What do you think?
I enjoyed it. It didn't like blow me away necessarily, but I really like the version of like future Gotham that Chang created in this. And I thought the story is like pretty solid. I like the concept that like Selina's been in prison for 10 years, and so now she's getting out and getting back into Gotham. So we're kind of like learning what 10 years later Gotham is like as she is, So overall, I thought it was good. I'm gonna check out more of it. I like heist stuff, and this definitely sets up kind of a heist vibe for going forward in the story, So I'll be excited to see how she like hatches the plan and how they work all that out.
Nice. I'm probably gonna have to go back and read it. It sounds pretty cool. Tyler, what was one you enjoyed from this week?
I think I'm gonna hop out, man. I got no energy today. I'm like gonna die. I'm so tired. I was up all day, and I'm usually sleeping, and I feel like my mind is reversed.
Well, I appreciate you hopping on this much then.
Yeah. All right. See you guys.
Bye, Tyler. So Shazam wrapped up. Issue 4 of 4 came out this week, which was pretty good. I don't know if you read this series, Ryan.
Mm-mm.
But there's a lot of callbacks to the future state stuff with the Teen Titans run, as well as Shazam had his little stuff going on in future state where Billy Batson was separated from the champion, and the champion was a murderer, like going and killing villains and stuff. And it didn't go down that rabbit hole. But in this issue, he makes it to the Rock of Eternity that's been lost in hell, that's been kind of messing his powers up, and he was disconnected from the Shazam family. And like you have Freddy dying because he doesn't have that power running through him anymore. So it was a race to get to the Rock of Eternity to try to regain that power to share it again with the family and save them. But when he gets there, he finds a young Black Adam from a different time and place that's been sitting there trying to guard it. And he reveals to Billy that, and he shows him like a vision of future state, like of the inevitable Raven going crazy, and that whole thrusted into the future that we saw in those 2 Black Adam backup stories where she's just decimating everything. And he talks about how that's an inevitability if things don't change. And he does not separate from Billy. We don't get any of that. And Dane, that has been his little buddy and has been hanging out with him in this venture, is revealed to be like the harbinger of doom, like the one that's going to set off that whole chain of events. So it kind of leaves us with a slight cliffhanger with Dane waking up at the end, and kind of his trip to hell to help Billy is what lit that spark inside of him that is kind of a unintentional spark. He's not trying to fulfill this evil prophecy or something. It's just part of what's in his nature. So I'm excited to see what they might do next. Hopefully it'll just be another mini-series, or they'll take it back to the pages of Teen Titans Academy and do something decent with that book, because it's been kind of garbage lately. The last couple of issues have just been boring. What else you got?
It's been a while since the 3 of us have been together like this.
Yeah, tripod.
The tripod is back together.
Yeah. You came back home. I appreciate it.
Well, Ryan wasn't here last week, was he?
No, that's beside the point.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
No sports ball today.
Oh. But Mark, did you get into the death of Doctor Strange?
All right, full disclosure. I started reading it, and I got about 4 pages in, and I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because it was good either. It's because I just really was not interested. Like I'm reading it, like, man, this is just like the whole thing of like the little pocket Doctor Strange that he hid away in case of his death, just sitting there talking to Captain America and everyone in the house. I'm like, I just do not care about this story at all.
It jumped the shark for you.
Yeah, well, I jumped the shark for it because I'm sure it's probably, I don't know if it's if it's good for what it's supposed to be or not, man. I would have no bearing to tell that. But it just didn't do it for me at all. I wasn't impressed with the first issue. This second issue was going right down the same rabbit hole. And I'm like, I'm out. I had it was already a busy week, and I just didn't have time to force it in.
So I thought it was just okay. I'm not even gonna say I thought it was good. I thought it was just okay. The Pocket Doctor Strange, we get to find out a little bit more about that particular character. It's basically one of the first things that Doctor Strange did when he started to understand magic. He wasn't the Sorcerer Supreme at the time, so the conscious level that he was at is exactly where this Pocket Doctor Strange is. So this Doctor Strange doesn't recognize any characters other than the big time superheroes, like Mark just mentioned, being Captain America. He doesn't recognize any of the characters that were there surrounding the death of Doctor Strange in the last issue. He doesn't even recognize that dog that is the ghost that was so prevalent. Right, that was so prevalent in the first issue that I actually thought was a fun part of that story. What basically happens is, Mark touched on this the very first time we spoke about issue 1, that when Doctor Strange died, that all those shields that he represented around the planet, both spiritually and cosmically, have been removed. And now the Earth and other portions of the multiverse are now under attack. We find out halfway through this story, it's not necessarily that they're under attack. It's just a lot of places that were under attack are now fleeing to Earth because they can now get in, as opposed to they couldn't get in before.
Everyone was setting up shop all over the planet. They weren't attacking or invading. They were just literally setting up shop.
Right. So it does have that overtone kind of thing of what's happening in today's culture with a lot of refugees. Like, that's the kind of the flavor that I took from this particular story. We were introduced to the three mothers in the middle portion of this book, and it's at that point where the Avengers, led by Captain America, Thor was there, Iron Man, and Captain Marvel, some pretty big prevalent powers of the Avengers showed up, and the three mothers just bitch slapped the hell out of them all, and they just basically flexed all over the Avengers and this Captain America and the secondary characters that were there in Doctor Strange's home when he fell in the last issue. When it was all said and done, the three mothers just basically looked at everyone and said, "We're going to let you be. We got some things we got to do. We're going to take off now." So that's the part that that's the part that kind of lost me. Like, okay, so we got introduced to three characters. Basically, they kind of set it up to be like a first appearance or just maybe a spec book kind of thing. And that's where it kind of lost me, where they showed up.
New characters, the three mothers?
Yeah, they're brand new characters. And they're pretty evil looking. Like they're out there kind of, like something that Guillermo del Toro would kind of come up with. That's how they look. And that's the part where it lost me. Okay, so they bitch slap the Avengers. They toast Iron Man. They grab Captain Marvel by the throat and throw her around. And Thor is basically not, one of the mothers refers to Thor as just a godling, just a child of a god. And nothing would please her more than to eat the soul of a godling kind of thing. And then in the end, they bitch slap the Avengers, and they look at this new Pocket Doctor Strange and said, "We're good right now, but we'll be back." Like, then what was the whole point of it? So that's the point where Jed McKay kind of lost me.
The little Pocket Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange literally casted a spell where he took a week out of his own life and stuffed it away somewhere. So they are on a time limit to get this murder solved.
Yeah.
Did we get any closer or get any new clues or context as to who actually killed him?
No. Mordor disappeared in the first portion or the first act of the book. It didn't play into that. It was mostly about talking about the defenses spiritually for the planet are down, and that Earth is basically under attack, only to find out it's not that we're under attack. It's just people are fleeing from being under attack, and they're heading here. And the reason why they're fleeing is because of the three mothers. And then the three mothers show up. Basically, exactly what happened in the first act of the Infinity War, when Doctor Strange and Iron Man basically say to Thanos's henchmen, Earth's closed today. That's basically the same type of scenario that you see play out in this. They step outside of his home, and there's these three monsters, for lack of a better term, female monsters, and the monsters just bitch slap the Avengers.
Well, and we brought this up at the first issue. Is it's almost like, is this a setup for Marvel to move over to a new Sorcerer Supreme? Is this a direction they might want to be taking the movie? So they're kind of testing the waters with the comics. Because when Pocket Doctor Strange, one of the first things he starts talking about is who is the Sorcerer Supreme here? Like, he never in his mind thought it would still be him at that point, you know. So he was expecting there to be a different Sorcerer Supreme, and was shocked to find out that there wasn't.
Yeah. The now, with that being said, Kelly Thompson has been writing Captain Marvel, and in her last story arc, she actually becomes, or she attempts to become, a Sorceress Supreme herself. Personally, there's no way I think the MCU is going to go that way, but I could see Jed McKay kind of touch on what Kelly Thompson was doing a little while ago, and possibly, since she has shown up in this, but she didn't really have any speaking parts in the book, but it could be something that gets visited. But the whole outside of this whole thing is Doctor Strange is a Ditko creation, so that whole thing playing out in the courts could be the reason why we have the death of Doctor Strange as well, besides Peter being removed from ASM for the time being.
Lame. Circus of lame. Ryan, what's a good book from this week? Or a good book that you read? What do you got next? Do you read lips, Chris?
Not in the dark.
Oh, okay.
Flash 775.
There we go.
Yeah, that was really good. That was a great issue.
Yeah, I saw online that you said it was terrific.
Yeah, I thought it was good. That, like, it feels like the beginning of the run, basically. You know, like, there were some good issues in that other stuff, but it was all kind of, I don't want to say like throwaway, but it was all kind of like, to me, like palette resetting for
introduction work.
Yeah, like getting us up to where we need to be for an actual story arc to start taking place. And so this felt like the kickoff of that. The glaive that we've been seeing kind of in the background here and there finally is here. Flash, Wally West, like, goes into with plenty of other powerful people to try to grab it. No go on that. You know, and then things kind of spiral out from there. Everybody's got a lot of animosity and anger and jealousy and everything else because of the influence of this glaive, except for Wally West. And then, you know, so he kind of like deals with everybody one-on-one here and there. There's like some great moments in there. And then we kind of get like the big evil at the end of the issue that sets up where the story arc should be headed from here.
Do they super reset Wally? You know, going from this troubled, disassociated personality that he's had since Heroes in Crisis, really since his reintroduction into Rebirth, you know, being the only carryover character from before Flashpoint and everything. But they established that really interesting in this issue with the glaive not affecting him. And they, early in the issue, he was talking about and using like some terminology, like it's kind of a Zen thing, and talking about how he's like really worked on himself, you know, and really got himself to this place of inner peace and stuff. And that's actually why the glaive really wasn't having that effect on him, because he was kind of just, you know, he wasn't receptive to it. You know, all that negativity and all that was just bouncing off of him, so he wasn't even feeling it. So I thought that was actually really interesting on a character level, that Jeremy Adams had said that he was really just not happy with how Wally had been treated and wanted to get him back to what he's supposed to be and back to a better place. And having those introductory issues, they really set the goalpost down with this issue with who and where and how Wally's going to look moving forward. And I thought that was really cool. Getting to see him kind of battle up against like just a whole army of rogues was fantastic.
Yeah,
the dynamic and like the seriousness, but balanced well with the comedy stuff. Because Wally's always been a jokester, you know, like he's the comic relief. And he did a great job at that. And even like Jeremy Adams surprising us as the reader, like while he's fighting these people, he's on guard, a guy coming right at him, and just a random car hits him. You know, like I did not see that coming. That I honestly laughed about it, and I'm like, man, this is great. And then it had a big finish. Eclipso shows up, Eclipso shows up and they're actually making him menacing instead of just a throwaway character. Like he just gets used too. Like when people just want to put a villain in, he's just one of those ones they'll add in there because he's not being used in huge story arcs and stuff. And he's a huge story arc villain. He's a big bad guy. He's the Spectre before the Spectre because he was so bad that like God with a capital G couldn't even keep him on the reign, so had to fire him and then brought in the Spectre to do the job. He's big boy level, and that's who shows up. And he even looks down on Flash and says, I ain't got, it's not worth his time to even deal with the Flash. And he takes off, and we're to see him later. And when he does, Dr. Fate pops out of a portal out of God only knows where, pulls Wally in, and he's in shambles. And then at the bottom it says like to be continued, the most meta issue of Flash you've ever read next month. So I'm super excited to see what they're about to do. I wonder if he was killed by Mephisto. Everyone is. But I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Another one that I enjoyed, and Chris, this is really like my probably my top DC book in the superhero stuff. It's got to be Suicide Squad.
The backbone.
Yes.
This is the most well-balanced book out there. Not every issue is going to hit as hard as every issue, but from a level of like a creator's level, like this book deserves so much praise. Like huge team book, multiple teams in it at this point, multiple stories running at the same time with people separated. It's balanced. All those characters are addressed. Their arcs are like their individual character arcs are moved forward as well as their plot is pushed forward. It is fantastic. So Amanda Waller sent the squad down to hell to go retrieve the Rock of Eternity, or so you thought, but she just wanted a sample of something. And that story arc wrapped up with a big battle and in epic fashion. We see a whole army of Suicide Squad members who have been previously killed are in hell, because where else would these people go when they die? And they had to fight the Suicide Squad down there. And as Ryan mentioned when we were talking before, we found out in this issue what happens if you're a horrible person and you get killed while you're in hell. And there's just so much that happened in this book. But it was a blast. It had some dramatic moments. We had some character deaths of people that they definitely had us starting to fall in love with on a character level. We laughed our asses off with Ambush Bug, and then we had huge hoorah moments, and then a big kicker at the end. It literally had it all in this one issue.
For me, Amanda Waller, outside of Darkseid, is the best villainous type of character DC has. Never mind Lex. To me, it's Amanda Waller. That character, whoever's writing her, has to, to me, take that creed. Yep, Amanda Waller, if I'm going to write her, is going to be 4 steps ahead of everyone else, and is in a sunny paradise while everything is going upside down for everyone that she's in control of. I think she's fantastic. If the three of us were collectively to get together at the end of the year and say, what is the best storyline that DC has put out this year, I think the three of us would agree it's Suicide Squad.
Yeah, at this point in time, it would definitely be Suicide Squad.
Yeah. It's seeded into all the other stuff, but also seeded from, and so they can kind of leave these open threads in these other books, and Suicide Squad just keeps picking them up and incorporating them, and it's been so good. Robbie Thompson's become one of my favorite writers at DC right now, and I didn't even know who he was back in March when this started.
Yeah.
Y'all remember those conversations when we were looking at stuff, we were trying to see what's going to happen after Future State? I'm like, dude, we should read Suicide Squad. And everyone's like, okay. And now Ryan's like, Peacemaker is that dude.
Yeah.
There's been
he had a great moment in this book too. Whenever he kind of breaks down and everything, such great character building and growth.
So for those that don't know, Suicide Squad, like you mentioned, has been tying into numerous other titles along the way. This is up to issue 8 right now, and it's tied into at least 4 other books along the way. And then this one specifically, it was kind of a catch-up and a closing to their time over in Swamp Thing, where Amanda Waller sent a 4-person team over to go explore the Holland phenomenon. Long story short, Peacemaker with some fired-up batons thought he was going to go toe-to-toe with Swamp Thing. Well, Swamp Thing is just ignoring him while he's just wailing into him, and Swamp Thing just reaches into his neck and takes the bomb out. And Peacemaker immediately, internally just breaks, because he's free. You know what I mean? And he's he looks at the bomb. He's like, what's going to happen? He goes, Well, the roots in my fingers are mimicking the neural network of your brain, so she's seeing exactly what she's supposed to see right now. So he literally mimics Peacemaker's brain just by holding it. So Amanda Waller is just seeing whatever he decided for her to see to think that everything's a-okay. And as soon as Peacemaker realizes he's in the clear, the first thing he does is question, "Who am I? Like, who am I anymore?" Like he's questioning not his mission, but he's questioning if he's taking on the right missions. He's like his quest for peace isn't in question, but he's just wondering if he's on his actual quest or if he's on somebody else's. So by the end of this, exactly, yeah. Which he has horrible ones. So for him to be questioning them and to be trying to get back on track of horrible morals, how bad has things been working with Waller, And at the end of this, he's kind of just lost, like trying to do his own thing. And Rick Flag finally catches up to him. For those that don't know, Rick Flag had been imprisoned by Waller, and they've had a mole on the team that released him a few issues back when Red X ransacked the place. And Rick Flag has been putting together his own team. So now we've seen that he has Cheetah, a Parademon, Mirror Master, and himself. And now he just went and met up with Peacemaker. So hopefully they're building toward a nice little event inside of this comic of Suicide Squad versus Suicide Squad, because I'm ready to see Rick Flag get some revenge, especially after that movie. # raise the flag. Okay. But unfortunately for Rick Flag, Amanda Waller's, she's unbeatable. I mean, that's her character. That's who she is. That's what makes her who she is.
4 steps ahead.
Yeah, he might be able to foil her plans. He might be able to get out alive. He might be able to get his team out on top, but Amanda Waller will have the last laugh some way, somehow. Well, we also learned from this issue that she no longer has the need to be going into off-world to other worlds in the multiverse to try to source for the squad, which we saw them doing, and that was their point of crossing over with the crime syndicate on Earth 3. She has her hands on the Lazarus resin, which if you read Robin Eternal, the 2 issues from Future State, you saw that's what that was about. Tim Drake was trying to stop and intercept this drug that was being brought into Gotham. It was called Lazarus resin, and it was being used in their cybernetics division and stuff. But here, Amanda Waller's gotten a hold of it, and she literally had her team intentionally put into dangerous places to have them killed so she can then inject them with Lazarus resin, bring them back from the dead, and have no longer a need for the neck bombs. Now, once you're in that situation, you're hooked on the Lazarus resin, and you need it to stay alive now, much like Ra's al Ghul, but it doesn't have the long-lasting effect. I'm assuming you're on a time limit. So we saw how do you say her name? Calibra. We saw her die in hell, and then we saw Talon, who's kind of been like they're like buddies. He went ham. He saw that she died, and he tore through some people. Like people, like one guy was trying to tough talk him, like while he was running toward him, tough talking. He didn't even slow down, just put him into pieces. It was really cool.
Straight in the neck.
Yeah, it was cool.
Which then again was great because guess who came back as like a hell spirit?
Yeah, immediately she did.
Right, and she got to see like she's been taking care of Talon in the background, so she got to see his favor returned,
Mm-hmm. So Promiscuous Time Traveler asked, did y'all talk about the new Harley Quinn book yet? And is that the Love Kill Bang tour? Is that, I don't know which one he's referring to.
Was that out last week though?
I don't know. I know that Harley Quinn has that and the regular Harley series. It's a Future State tie-in right now, and I haven't been pulling the regular Harley Quinn one. He said never mind. He meant.
Yes, we spoke about Catwoman.
Yeah, that was Chris's read of the week. He went into it in really good depth. He really loved it to the point that I'm going to go back and pick it up. Yo, Superboy Bizarro, Superboy and Suicide. Yeah, it's Match. It's the Superboy Bizarro back from the 90s, Match. So Amanda Waller took Match and cleaned him up and messed with his brain and convinced him that he was Connor. And not until the annual, what was it, last month before when the annual dropped, that the real Connor showed up, and that was an epic fight. It was really cool. And since then, Match has just been – his head's a bunch of chewed up crayons right now. Yeah, it's kind of like having like a portable, like small, like if you had like Lazarus Pit in an inhaler, just getting small effects from it, but just enough to get you back off the ground.
Yeah, Suicide Squad is about to become Junkie Squad.
Yeah, Amanda Waller, the J Squad.
Yeah.
I'm just finishing number 8. Yeah, it was really good.
Better watch out for that Santa Fe that you got down there coming at you, Ryan.
The train.
The train.
No.
Santa Fe. Real quick, I do want to ask because man, I'm highly enjoying it. Batman Catwoman issue number 8. So this was the second out of 3 that we have Liam Sharp on the interior arts temporarily. You know, he's the stand-in artist right now. But this issue was wicked, man. Like
Is Phantasm still in it, or is his arc done? Okay, keep going.
her.
Oh, her.
Yeah, it's never him.
Right.
Yeah,
Slip of the tongue.
it's okay. And that slip of your tongue is why I love you so much.
I got nothing. Okay.
Nothing.
I love you too, buddy.
I do have a question for Ryan. You know how every issue, like this house represents the run. Every issue, like when the first issue, all of these windows were all dark like these 3 are, and this first one was lit up with the name of the issue. So it's all been Christmas carols that kind of like start the issue off and kind of set the tone. And if you look, let's see, October, November, December, so it should, it's going to end up going past Christmas. But anyways, if you look at this window right here, Ryan, all of them have the nice clean font, but this one window right here has dirty, messed up font. And it says joy to the world, and it's all scratchy and nasty, and it doesn't match the other ones. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did not.
Has it been lit up yet in the series?
Yeah, it was issue number 6.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have anyone fall in issue 6?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Not specifically, but yeah. What did you think of this issue, Ryan? You normally have a pretty deep perspective on this book.
Remind me what happened in this one.
So it starts out with that guy going to answer the door. It's a character we don't know, just some random dude at home with his wife and kid. He answers the door, and Joker and Phantasm are there. Then it starts flashing to Batman and Catwoman, who Batman is grilling her. You have to do something. You have to stop the Joker. A bunch of people are going to die. Like, you know where he is. You've been talking to him. I don't know why you still have. You just, I don't understand you. Why do you keep doing this? And she's refusing to do anything because that's not her thing. You know, she's going to deal with Batman. She's going to deal with Joker separately. Like, she plays both sides of the fence. It was really dealing with that. And her unwillingness to really step up to the plate and be more than what she has been. You know, it was almost like that classic, like, you love me, but you want to change me kind of thing. And even has that scene where Batman and Catwoman find that gentleman on the bridge whose throat is bleeding out. And he's like, sir, you don't have to do this. And Catwoman's sitting there nonchalantly, not even paying attention. She's like, dude, look, your kid, he's got your kids, but he's already killed him. So what's the point? Just tell us what we need to know so we can move on. And Batman's like, shut up. Like, don't let him know that. And like, it was rough. It was a rough issue. And it gets to the end, and we have no clue why Joker and Phantasm are at this family's house. But they get in there, and Phantasm starts questioning the mother about how old would your kid be? And they're like, what? Like, your first kid. What was his name? And they're like, Jack. Like, how old would he be? Like 14? Because apparently they had a kid that died that they've kept under the table. And this is the part I didn't quite get. Apparently it was her kid. Like, I don't understand how this family's kid is connected to her kid or how it could possibly be the same person or not. But as soon as they come clean with Phantasm about it, because they're just there to grill this family about this missing kid or a kid they had that died or something that would have been 14 years old had it survived, Phantasm takes her mask off because she's got like her blade to the family's throat and everything. As soon as she does, Joker, who's like been teammate over here, pulls some Christmas wire and wraps it around her neck and starts strangling her out. And that's how the issue ends.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I just thought this was a really weird issue. I don't know. I feel like we're kind of like in that like middle lull, you know. This was, I don't want to say it was uninteresting. It was just like really kind of like all over the place, and it felt like there was a lot of nothing happening with like Phantasm. Like, she was just there because she's been in the book, so she needed to be there, and then they sort of like tie it into like her whole mission with her son and stuff at the end there, except then like Joker turns on her. Like you said, I mean, I don't know. It's a weird issue. I think it's going to kind of like make a lot more sense in the whole of like this little trilogy with Liam Sharp. But this issue definitely probably my least favorite of the run so far.
No, I enjoyed it for the dynamic with Batman and Catwoman, which was really more straightforward on the nose for me. You know, one part was cool that I do want to point out. You know, like current day, like because you got the flashbacks and you have current day. So current day where Catwoman's old, she actually goes to the morgue in Gotham where they have Joker's body, which she killed Joker in the first issue. That's what sets this off. So you have Dick Grayson, who's the commissioner, talking to Selena and Bruce's daughter, who's active Batman in the city. And he's like, look, Selena's going to kill me if I try to bring her in. And Selena's daughter's like, look, she's not as young as she used to be. You can get her in. Like I thought it was awesome that Dick was questioning his ability to actually bring Catwoman in because he wants to arrest her for murdering the Joker. But she actually goes to the morgue, pulls out Joker's body, and she's like, y'all couldn't just leave him out of Gotham. You had to bring him back to the city that he loved because it loved him back, blah, blah, blah. Bruce never knew what to do with you. Dick doesn't know what to do with you. She's talking to his corpse, just venting. She goes, but I know what to do with you. So by the end of the issue, she's cut his body up and decorated the big Christmas tree in Gotham Square with his corpse. Like, he's not coming back. There's no bringing him back. You know, the Christmas tree that Penguin threw the baton girl or whatever on Batman Returns? She decorated that tree with his limbs.
It's got his foot hanging off and his hand and stuff.
Oh, boy.
And his head is right on the top.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So it was really just, like, that was cool if you go into the dynamic, too, of how, like, she just wouldn't come to terms with just calling it, you know, and like turning the Joker in early on, allowing him to continue this spree with all these innocent people. But I'm still trying to figure out what Phantasm's overall play in this is, because we really haven't gotten that. She has no connection to Batman. It's just really been her. It's a Catwoman centric book. You have her like showing that Catwoman is just very easily corruptible. She doesn't know how to play one side or the other, and that's really her whole purpose for being there. They were trying to push in this narrative with her family, her kid. You know, they've hinted at it earlier on and mentioned him, but now with this issue, they brought it back up for the first time in a while, and I really don't know what the relevance of the kid is.
Yeah, other than that being the Phantasm's like main mission through the movie
Right.
and all that, like I don't know what this kid is involved with, you know.
Yeah, not at all. So we'll see. We'll see. You have any other, like, real quick, Batman 115 came out, stuff happened, not important. They just kind of point out that Scarecrow is all right. So the Insanity Collective found a way to take all their trauma and get it out of themselves so they can be their full potential, because everyone knows that everything's so traumatic to everybody. And if we could just not be traumatized by the world, we can be our better selves, blah, blah, blah. I hate that message that this book is sending with Unsanity Collective. It is pure garbage. Not necessarily the writing of the book, the message that the writer is trying to put through the Unsanity Collective. Life is traumatizing. Avoiding trauma, forcing people to act a certain way where you're not traumatized is not a thing. It's not pushing learn how to deal with trauma. It's pushing if only you could stop people from being traumatic toward you. It's garbage, but that's Scarecrow's play. He's taking everyone's trauma, and that's what he's going to unleash on Gotham. Blah, blah, blah. Stupid. Absolutely stupid. Superman, Son of Kal-El. Fantastic read. First issue that we got where Jonathan is now active on Earth by himself. Clark is gone, and it starts out by taking away everything from Jonathan that makes him relatable to his dad, which I thought was a very interesting way to start, by separating him from what we know about Superman, giving him more room to be his own hero. So the farm is gone. His allegiance to the Justice League is questionable because they didn't make it there in time. You know, he's on unfamiliar soil. He's doing something his dad never would by questioning another leader on the world stage, you know, because Clark stayed out of politics. He would not interfere with any governments, you know. So it was a good read. It was definitely a good read. We had this awesome moment in the beginning when Fault Line from the last issue was dropped on the Kent farm. They were all sitting at the dinner table. So we had a Quicksilver moment from the X-Men films where it just hyper slow-mo. And it felt hyper slow-mo where he's running, like moving beams that are splintering. You're seeing them panel by panel as they splinter and flying through the air and stuff. And he's getting Ma and Pa, and he realizes that his boyfriend has powers because particles are actually going through him. They're phasing through him. So he leaves him in the house and gets out, has a cool conversation with the Justice League. He talks to the Flash, who says, I know your dad's gone, but feel free. You can hit me up anytime. He's like, why would I want to talk to you? Well, I can tell you now, it's nice to talk to somebody who can keep up. Which was really cool. We had a fill-in artist. The artwork was not up to par with what the book's been. It was a little goofy and wonky at times, but overall it was a good book. Looking forward to the next issue. Frog.
This was surprisingly very good. Normally, I'm not a fan of Kate's. However, this book starts off with Thor, basically belly aching to Loki that he wants Loki's help because Mjolnir has been stolen. And Loki, being Loki, just kind of is like, well, maybe there's someone else you should ask. And the story cuts to the swamps of Asgard, where the king of the swamps has returned after 4 days being away. And the course who I'm talking about is Throg. And Thor goes to visit Throg, and Thor's about to begin his conversation, and Throg cuts him off and says, "Look, Thor, let's just cut to the chase. I know why you're here. Mjolnir's been stolen, and you want my help." And Thor has this dumbfounded look on his face, only the way that Pascal Ferry, Mark's favorite Spider-Man artist, can draw.
Oh, the Spider Shadow guy.
Yeah. And it kind of has that stray dogs kind of artwork to this particular one. Pascal Ferry definitely went absent from the way that he drew Spider Shadow. So this one has a different flavor, and it works, this particular issue. And Throg actually says to Thor, "I know what you're going through. I foreshadow this. And 4 days ago, I began the journey to help you." And what Throg actually did was he assembled his own Avengers team 4 days ago. He went and got
amphibians.
No, they're all animals. He went and got Lockjaw to help him to join this Avengers team. He went and got my favorite Lockheed from the X-Men universe, Kitty Pryde's dragon, to help.
Yeah.
And he went and got Bats, Doctor Strange Ghost Dog.
Oh,
is that
awesome.
the character's name? And
Yeah,
so at the final page is Throg says to Thor, "Yeah, I'm going to help you, and just to let you know that I have my own Avengers team ready to go."
Well, that's an awesome page too. Look at that stance he's in. "Hello, my darling. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal."
That's awesome.
So yeah, it was actually a real good read. I'm looking forward for this particular arc with Thor. I didn't like the Donald Blake arc that was the last one. I know Ryan. I know you read it. I think maybe you enjoyed it probably a little bit more.
Has a solid point. Where's Howard the Duck in all this?
That Howard the Duck might be off Earth.
Might be the ace in the hole. We'll see.
Yeah, but yeah, he might be next. But yeah, it was actually very surprisingly a good read.
It was a fun one.
It was a fun one. Everything
we're gonna get ready to
Doctor Strange was. It was.
Y'all got anything else you want to hit on before we head out?
I thought Batgirl 85 was better than Nightwing 84.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Nice.
I'm trying to think if there was anything else that really stood out. I think I mostly covered it. There was a lot of DC this week. I got caught up. I don't even know if this came out this week, but Beyond the Breach, I finally got to read that.
Yeah.
Read, all 4 issues. That was really good.
I talked to Ed Brisson on Friday about it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he was at Fan Expo when I went to the con. He actually signed issue 1 and 2, and he had some other issues. And issue 4 was released 2 days prior. It came out this new comic book day. And I spoke to him about it, and I said, "I'm really, really enjoying it. I enjoy that you have a female lead." And I said, "I love what you're doing by blowing up California and ripping it apart as much as you are." And he had a little laugh at that. And then he said that him and Damian, the artist, when this arc is going to be done, that'll be it for Beyond the Breach. But they're only hitting the pause button the same way that Something Is Killing the Children did with, after issue 15, they hit that pause. So that creative team, Ed Brisson and Damian, I forget his last name.
Hopefully there won't be an unfortunate play button hit after the pause.
Right, but they're going to do a different story altogether, and then they're going to return to Beyond the Breach just because it's been really well received.
I've read issue 1. I got the Sealess Villains exclusive.
Yep.
Yeah, I haven't read past that though. I'll probably. You said it's just 5-issue story arc for this one.
I think it's 6. I think issue 4 just came out Wednesday. Ryan, was it issue 4 that came out?
Yeah, I've read up to 4.
Right.
I'm trying to remember. I think it might have said the finale is the next issue. So it might
Okay,
just
well
be
then, okay, maybe it's 5. I'm sorry, but yeah, he was. I spoke to him a little bit about Spider-Man because he had a hand in the Sinister War, and he had his hand in the Chameleon Conspiracy. So I spoke to him a little bit about that, and he signed a couple books for that. But when I started talking Beyond the Breach, his face lit up, and
That's his baby, huh?
That's his baby right now. So yeah, I really praised him for having a female lead.
When it
And
comes to indie books, all I want to see is season 2 of We Live at this point.
oh,
That is all I
Right.
want. I want some news.
right there, Mark,
Yeah.
right there.
I want some
Right there.
news. I want some announcements. I want to see like something kind of.
Yeah.
They keep doing. They're keeping it heavily alive. They're
Yeah.
metals released, new exclusives, new con exclusives like that.
The Free Comic Book Day issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Even that was fantastic. It was. I almost feel like I want to apologize to you guys for being so late with that particular story. But it's
was
so
worth it.
Sweet Jesus,
Yeah,
it's so good.
I think Ryan numerous times I said it, he's the one that put me onto that because that's when that book was coming. He was doing the video, like he was picking like three books. I think he was only doing 3 books on those videos where he said, these are 3 that I'm most looking forward to this coming week, just based off, just synopsis alone. And that was on there. And then I didn't pick it up at my shop. I went into a different shop after work that day. And a guy who worked there said, this book looks cool. I'd probably enjoy reading it with Finn. And I'm like, I'll check it out. Like Ryan mentioned it. Now you're saying, and I assumed he had read it when he said that, and I get home, I read it. I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm showing this to Finn.
Oh, no.
You know what I'm saying? That was last year too. But since then, me and Finn, we actually read Geiger together.
Oh, nice.
Interesting.
His mom's not happy about that. I was reading it out loud to him. I was reading it out in my lap. I'm not going to tell him, no, you can't read books. But since then, he knows what skeletons are. He knows what radiation poisoning is. And he knows what cannibals look like. So
nice.
I feel like he's safer for it.
And then Las Vegas is not a good place to be.
Yeah, you remember that issue with the cover with all like the cannibal radiation poison people jumping on their truck on the cover, and it was just that fight of him just bashing skulls in. That's the issue he happened to get. So it was all in from there.
Yeah, I was just thinking if we could describe We Live to someone that's never read it, just picture Stand By Me, the movie, except it's directed by Guillermo del Toro instead.
Exactly. That's
what We Live would be. Just the adventures of those young people trying to get from point A to point B, but Guillermo del Toro makes everything difficult.
Want to see a dead body? Kids need to know that stuff. They do, as long as you introduce it to them properly. I didn't try to make it more than what it was. All right, guys. Well, I definitely appreciate y'all being here tonight. Big thank you to all the channel members. We're 50 channel members strong now. So big thank you to everybody who is subscribers and channel members. I honestly cannot thank you guys enough. I say it a lot, but I don't feel like I say it enough. And be on the lookout this coming week because I will be posting the video showing off what's going into the Legion loot box for the month. For all those people that are in the $5.99 tier, you're all entered for a chance to win that. I'm very excited to figure out how we're going to do that moving forward and try to make it as seamless as possible and all that good stuff. But yeah, and a big thank you again to Big Time Collectibles, the channel sponsor that is sponsoring that box and sending the books. Big thank you to Nelson over there. He's amazing. Be sure to check out BigTimeCollectibles.com. They've got some amazing exclusives, and they have those holiday mystery boxes on sale right now. They might be sold out. They just went on sale, but I was talking to Nelson like the hour they went on sale, and he said that they were already a little bit better than half sold out within that first hour. So they might still be there. Like they're $100 boxes. The low value of them is like $280 if you don't hit anything big. All the way up to over like $1,200 if you start hitting the big items in it. There's a lot of big items, and also Justin
killed the children.
Yeah. In all sincerity, he's got that number 1 9.8 in there. He's got some air double cover books, and there's some cool stuff. But Justin Comics over on Instagram can help you out with all your cleaning and pressing needs for as little as $10 per book for those moderns. He's got some of the fastest turnaround times you'll ever see. You can submit to CGC and CBCS for you if you don't want to do it yourself, or you can always pre-submit your book, send him the slip, and they can go from you to him to CGC and back to you. You know, just hit him up, use that code We Are Legion, and get that buy two get one free. Definitely give him a shot. He's fantastic. Get that kid in Evil Lair. Yeah, definitely. I appreciate everybody for hopping in tonight. And as always, I'm Mark, but we are Legion.